I'm shocked. After talking about that guy who forced images in my mind about some girl who thinks she's my higher self while they're fucking. Same girl who's like, hey, crap. Like, sack of bones, crap. I don't know, disgusting crap. I don't need anything of a reminder of at all. Then she shows up. I think it's the same person. Crap. She's like a shape-shifting bitch. In a white Mercedes with a license plate X26Xcc, my ascendant sign, number, degree, and my X drive experiment that they don't have a goddamn thing to do with. It's my natural timing. It's my natural timing. It's my natural fucking timing. I know they want to deny that, but it's not something you can deny. I spent years documenting my goddamn X drive experiment. I spent years driving around collecting my data. It was my initiative for the reasons I said earlier. Talking about Arcadia and like how he like thought Lana was some other than like actual digital representation of like trace your fingertips kind of thing. And like, I knew that didn't happen in my life because I have a memory. And so, but I knew that like the whole like town laughter corrupt thing was real. So in that instance, and for many, many instances where things I knew applied and were confirmed in my X drive experiment, going through an intersection, knowing that, yeah, I was right. That part applied is my initiative for all my reasoning, my natural timing as well. I don't know what the fuck you thought she could. It's all my data. I have the original notebooks locked away in a locked suitcase. Crap. They're all mine. It's my videos. My linguistic, like the linguistic boxes, like the extra, like the box of the intersection, words, linguistics. My art practice is about linguistics and translations and connections and goddamn seeing things in a different way. And that allowed me to do that in all these different contexts, in all comparisons to time units and everything, building a wardrobe, everything. All of it's mine. All of it. Every single word, phrase, and goddamn example or demonstration, every landmark, all of it was all mine. I spent years driving around. My money, my goddamn time, my note-taking, my documentation, my video recordings. It's part from my goddamn career, making something out of what I have, natural resources, natural goddamn timing. You left me with nothing, and I'm resourceful and utilize and put into a context and parameters in comparison to the world card and my knowledge of metaphysics and tarot and symbology and goddamn all of my translations that I made years and years and years ago. Mirrored my interest in interstellar space, basically. Well, fuck. No, not her fucking space. I said a little space, back off! Out of my goddamn face. Personal space, privacy, life, identity, birth chart. Like a little space, you mind? Get the fuck out of my goddamn identity. You know is not yours. You know is not yours. I'm speaking directly at her. You know is not yours. You know there's no shared identity here. You know there's no shared mind, body, and soul. She's a fucking machine gun. Oh yeah, I said you. You mean you? You machine gun, bitch? I'm not you. And you're not me. And you're not you're not any aspect of my birth chart. I represent all of them. You people were not needed for representation here. You were not part of a campaign or music video that I used as material. Wow. To connect the dots in the puzzle and mystery that I was both making, designing, building, creating, and discovering myself, made for me and by me. With my natural timing. And everything that's demonstrated all the time. The original notebooks. I have everything. You test those people in their cars, it's not contrived. My natural timing is my natural timing. It wasn't in accordance with anyone else's ex. Some bitch is driving around with they've been stealing all my projects. My X Drive experiment is on my playlist. All my words, everything. Driving around a white Mercedes with you, X26Xcc, trying to be me, some blonde bitch, and pulled up right in my house or nearby. And this house I suspected was bought with my money, going back years. I think it's in a Saint Laurent campaign, some of the lots of reasons, or something similar to it, not exact, but yeah. I think a lot of indications. Like, it's my X Drive experiment as a conceptual artist. I made something out of everything that I've been learning, doing, making, connecting, metaphysics, symbology, my tarot translations, my natural timing, my goddamn, all of it. But in the parameters of the intersections of a street. Yeah. Well, I have many, many videos going way back talking about it, outlining parameters on the X Drive experiment and just natural timing put into that context. And so every time I went through an intersection, tell me something about either myself or the context that I decided prior to. Units of time as tarot, and the world card is connected to Saturn, having to do with time, and the confinement of time. Yeah, as a concept. All these different time units and directions and forward and back and everything. Comparisons to an interstellar tesseract and all the words I've used before to describe that. And all the different levels to that. Both, everything. So, you type below, what do you mean? In the description? Videos? Yeah. Yep. Because I know, how misconstrued things have gotten. And that's the point in using something like a music video that many people can ask. Anyone could have gone to the grocery store and bought a Brillo box, like Andy Warhol. That was a whole, criticism or soup can or something. Anyone can make a playlist. I put it in context and give it meaning in all these different levels, and quantum entanglement, visualization, all these different connections and puzzles and everything that, yeah, you could appreciate on one level, but yeah, you can appreciate on all these other levels too. Where I am now, another thing that I thought was at some house that, oh my God, I watched the strangest movie last night that in step with timing, things I was talking about all day yesterday, called The Host, and some alien invasion. And I've been telling people, because I said I was a hostess at Bar American in New York, Bobby Flay's restaurant. And I saw people giving them menus. Brought them to their table and gave them menus. And I think that was misconstrued in some interpretations. But because I keep having to say I'm not but anyways, yeah, it's the host. I don't know. Oh my God, it's so bizarre. Shit. My Instagram is Caitlin Carlisle, my name. And I think people have been, so it's so bizarre. I mean, I could take it as a compliment, I guess, but I don't think it's ever in that context at all when these people past me with their like, they divvied up my birth chart and like the planets, I guess. I don't know here. Like what I was doing on my channel was all these pop songs, music videos, fashion campaigns, all that visuals, runway sets, connected to the alchemical cycle, visual connections, codes, words, representation, visuals that connect to the alchemical cycle that I name classic, because classic, timing, timeless, it's both within time and charting time, but it's also a timeless cycle and distillation of clothing down to the minimalist basics of the essence and new essentials and some sort of timeless classics, and having all those, or all the different levels within each phase to speak to on different levels, from environmental, sociological, and societal, and personal, and astrological, and all the different visuals pertaining to each phase of the alchemical cycle, and how I knew which alchemical cycle to go with, because all the projects that I had done as an illustrator leading up to when I made that proposal and got into the artist residency / coding school hybrid in New York, and carried that over here, and all these different experiments, conceptual experiments that were a little bit heady, but I try to find like ways and means to like demonstrate them or put in something tangible, or to like have people witness to it, like in some sense. Well, it's a little bit, I'm going to speak, so yeah, I don't know why people thought that they could just like, I mean, it's just like every little thing that's just ridiculous. I just try to let these things go, because to what degree people are like serious about them or just like trying to fuck with you, because it's been a reoccurring theme my whole life, and it's a reoccurring theme in all these people that I kind of reference in pop culture, like Edie, and how Edie Sedgwick, and how everyone just like kind of started dressing like these Aries midheaven. She was an Aries, like trendsetters, trends, meta trends, all of that data and translations into clothing, and just taking initiative and first step towards a project and doing it first, and originality and all of that. And then all these people just like, oh, divvy up your personality, and I'm you and you're you, and it's just like a nightmare, because it gets away from the fundamental need as an Aries midheaven, right? To have something original and something that is of your own and personal to you, to be aggressive towards, or not towards, but for and defensive of, because that's the best place to have your Aries midheaven in your career sector, where people would maybe not take you as seriously as a woman, but goddamn, maybe as an Aries midheaven, to kind of, no, you are not going to take advantage of me. You are not going to think that you made that, because you didn't. What the fuck? And it's just kind of like, I just thought that was a funny, like, it's from Kayla Fuck. It's a working title, they say. It's not worked out yet. I haven't figured out, finalized my title, a working title, or a working thesis. It's in process. Just trying to figure out what the fuck, and it's just clever wordplay. Not even. I don't know. It's right there. Caitlin Carlisle is my Instagram handle. It's all kind of like, because I did try to like tie things together in a way to represent different like concepts and theories I talk about, like dimensions and levels, and perhaps alternate reality, as per renamed in the phase 5 of the alchemical cycle, shifting alternate realities, or changing the pace, changing the situation up or something, or maybe quite literally different realities, but different platforms, Instagram, YouTube, just like how it's all connected, and how I had very specific references, like that I continually reference to bring it all to some sort of like, because otherwise I can go anywhere. It could have gone like in all these different directions, which is one topic I was going to talk about, actually. It's about right there, Caitlin Carlisle. Yeah, and so all these different factors, external factors. I found just all these kind of more mundane ways, like making a playlist, to describe all these kinds of things, or to maybe try to explore. Talked about that earlier as well. In the essence of art, being artist, being exploration. I referenced the Louis Vuitton campaign that was inspired by that concept of an explorer, this big umbrella of conceptual art, and delving into these topics and pulling it all together in some contextual medium or story or medium or some kind, pulling together a collection, exploring the depths of some theory in all these different ways or contexts, but like basically exploring life as art form in different ways, means and forms. And through the constant that has changed, changing constant was my equation that I combined, like constant, velocity, all these different types of ways of measuring momentum and speed and putting it all together so that I could track how far a trend went and project it. So, and per each phase and how much I saw that happening in each phase of different periods of time or same time. And just being able to identify those things pretty easily, either market or visual, because that is what it is. And then knowing that then is a bigger representation of that phase, and to then multiply it out so that I could get a better idea of the market and where things were going. But in any case, like, it was all these ways to sort of explore different topics. And are you explorer? The landscape, yeah. And the landscape is time. If you want, all eyes on me, eyes on the road. Yeah. What was the fact that some girl was like right there in some car that definitely alluded to having to do with my and because she scoffed when I said, I was talking on my little pen device, and was like, these people just have nothing to do with me. How dare this girl, like they just nothing to do with my natural timing. I'm like, of course they don't. I've never seen her before in my life. Here I am, just like going about my day and trying to and working towards all these things all these years, and just not so much that, but like developing different. Every time they keep taking me, and I develop it in a different way. Now I'm like, oh, now Mind's Eye, and I'm like leaving the Art Institute, go to that museum day, and how that kind of just naturally, it was like Mind's Eye, untitled experiment, basically. And I was like, I don't know. It's really think like Mind's Eye. People have different ideas what that means and connotations. So, but for me, I was just thinking about like what I see in my mind if I'm trying to picture what's on the back of a card without looking at it. And so that's what it was, and then see how different gestures apply in different areas. So. Yeah, in different contexts or different way, I went to the museum and saw how all these different paintings pertain to these like 6 different abstract gestural drawings, and how it was just really interesting how I could see how I was thinking about lines and shape and form and abstractions of that, and how I just try to connect. I mean, like, yeah, the Museum of Contemporary Art in Mexico City that we visited when we were there, and the Dali sculpture of the melting clock, and then how these things just keep like, it seems like once you mention it, just kind of like when you're paying attention to like, I keep seeing 1111, I'm like, but it's more than that, obviously. It's like uncanny how It's right there. I don't know. Fix that window. It's like I was against the. Yeah. So there's just like all these different reasonings and reasons for like trying to come with different experience. Once I didn't have a car because they crashed into me, probably because poetry in motion, they didn't want me driving and getting my words and timing and passing landmarks. They probably knew that it would exceed beyond like parameters of an intersection, and then I'd realize I could like find out all these things about other people and like pass their houses and stuff like that. But one really interesting intersection word, because usually an intersection is like a four-way intersection, but when I came to this, I was driving along this one road over here, Vincennes, if you're, and 103rd, and it's like a intersection that goes off in like a few different directions. And I was listening to Building a Mystery, so that applies on a lot of levels. And it says the cross across from the time before Jesus came. It kind of looks like maybe like an ankh or like some kind of different type of cross. I have a childhood drawing of not your typical like cross where it's tall and then like raised, but just like a cross. And that's what the X was pertaining to, just like X driving experiment. But yeah, I can walk too. It just doesn't make much of a difference. But that's why I didn't want people to be like, oh, yeah, you could try to recreate, but it'd be within your own timing. And I tried to make sure that it wasn't contrived and it was objective. So then it see it beyond like just personal, like this applies only to like the world card or whomever you're, so many people in the world, and it could just be these different contexts. It's so interesting to find out. And then so then I didn't have a car, and yeah, I can walk, but like it's not the same in a lot of places and past landmarks, and it's get tired after a while. But so then I got one of those like, what are they called? To scan the room to see if there's bugs. And it's supposed to beep and go off when you get close to one. And I don't know, it just kept beeping everywhere. So I was like, I don't know if this is I'm probably doing this wrong. So then I just used it as I don't know what you would call it, but I just put it on like a low frequency and set off letters and words. And if I guess hit on one, like, because it would beep and I'd write it down. Had some other interesting type of experiments that way. Then the mind's eye thing. I was leaving the Art Institute and this girl's like on the phone walking past me, so they pretend like they can like speak through me. It's that Beck song, Wow, Demons on the Phone. He's like, mind's eye, and then I saw this blue truck drive by. It was playing Shake It Off. Like, yeah. As a Cancer ascendant, I tend to get really miffed at people for things like that. I'm just like, it's just so rude. I don't know. And then, anyone who were to know me, especially a guy that would just take me, should ask himself before doing something that might be like he might think is a funny joke, but isn't. For how long do you want to hear about this? Because Cancer, especially Cancer ascendants, don't seem to really let go of things very easily. So it's kind of like do you really want to hear about this for the next 5 years? Is it worth it to you? No? Okay, then don't do it. Like, kind of thing. So yeah, I don't. Well, you never think that time, like, if you had a magic skill, like, ooh, timing, like, just natural synchronistic timing, probably wouldn't think was that helpful, but it actually turns out to be pretty helpful. And I'm just surprised people haven't like drive around with me. Let's find out things about like our enemies. Yeah. And I found out like that house is yours. That house is yours. Feds live there. CIA lives there. And different references or associations that I've made to songs to figure out like that probably has something to do with that agency or that thing, so that I can make that like an association in my mind and not be like trying to contrive something. Cause I don't know every lyric in every song, but it comes up, you know, like, and it's like, and it's feds, that's, you know, and then it'll be confirmed multiple times. So I do know where someone that works at CIA lives, and I do know where someone in IT lives, and I do know where someone that, I think, but I mean, they could have moved. All these things are kind of like up in the air until you get confirmation, which is talking about forecasting earlier, fashion forecasting. So helps in tracking your like progress, I guess, basically, you know, if you're on the right track and your predictions and whatnot. But at a certain point, it's just like no one really deserves to like know the future, and it gets into all these topics of like, well, if you know the future, because you just all kinds of like paradoxes and all kinds of, you know, that just butterfly effects and everything like that. And, well, then the nature and physics of time and how to apply it in all these different ways. And so it's just kind of like, oh my gosh, how someone like literally just thought that they could take my X drive experiment and be like, yeah, I came up with all this. No, you didn't. No, you know, and it's like, I just don't know why or how. It doesn't seem like anyone even pays attention to the things I'm doing. I'm like, and they could have, like, as much as they like to be entertained in this neighborhood, and think that my entire life is here for their entertainment. They should have like then embraced my X drive experiment, because you could like definitely hear me coming. I was looking for people to like witness it too, so that you know that it wasn't contrived or whatnot. But you know, maybe it's for the best that I think it is, because it would be used every time you go into a car. I don't know. Yes. Word magic. You know, I feel like some of these tarot readers employ that in their readings and stuff like that. And I'm just like, you don't want to sue me? Yeah, I do. Yes, and I would really like, because I've been stranded here for the last like year without a car. I would really, really like to have a car again. And the fact that someone's selling off my like time in life, basically, and buying themselves cars, they think they're me and they're not. There's no transference between another person being and me. Now it makes sense with watching The Host last night. That movie, Diane Kruger's in it, and who did play Helen of Troy in that Troy movie. Back when I was making predictions, I didn't want people to like base their actions off of my predictions either one way or the other, because then that would defeat the purpose basically of a scene if you were actually right in any position to give anyone advice like that. So I had all these sort of like levels of association so that I could like sort of track if I was accurate in those things. And so like the Trojan War and Troy is a pop culture movie reference, Brad Pitt and whatnot. And being that like Turkey is modern day Troy, and I grew up like going on archaeological digs with my father, you know, exploring the Middle East, and I mean that's just like in my blood. But yeah, it was back in 2016, 17, before a lot of some, you know, I don't want to say things But as that was a warning, like just even look at it as the concept for which it is, but then I know in the context and the play, but then have all these other levels and meanings so that I can know if I was in any place to even, because you wouldn't want to mislead or. And then trust me, like it's one of those things I'm just not doing anymore because songs like what's it, You Get What You Give, or there's a Harry Styles song, gravity, everything gets in the way. But regardless of what side you're on in the spiritual realm, they either don't want you to, like, I think that's why, like, I'm saying trust, like, there's a lot of false profiteering and things like that. And which is, I actually formally studied fashion forecasting, and it's just part of the job as being a designer and like having your finger on the pulse of what's gonna, like, what kind of things are going on, just awareness and living in the world, kind of have a sense of that kind of thing, and to put it into a parameters and context and system makes a lot of sense. All systems go. The third phase, chemical cycle. So what number? So it's just really disappointing that I just thought you could willy-nilly just like sort of like, no, do you know how many hours I sat in front of like the television shuffling cards? I think they were like reacting to the TV and then finding my own translations as well. And I have books and books and books of translations. And then my Value of Ideas project incorporated cute speech and like, hi, my name is Caitlin. And it's a phonetic way of representing sound and speech and the locations where they come from. And I incorporate that into my, because the origins and genesis and beginnings of the universe, basically, and midpoints and all these kind of sounds and music notes and everything, all these properties within the data and comparisons and whatnot. But cued speech being part of that as the ratio works out, and sounds and syllables to locations and where they come from. It's only developed in the 70s to help deaf children, hard of hearing children learn to read lips and to speak, basically to formulate the sounds that you miss when you have like even just a slight hard of hearing. You miss certain syllables, and that's why you hear deaf people have a little bit of speech impediment. And so it's to help fill in those like gaps in what they don't pick up on hearing. And my brother is profoundly deaf. He was born profoundly deaf and some other medical problems, but he got a cochlear implant, one and then the other, and like major brain surgery. And so, just grew up learning sign language and cued speech. We went to family camps to like learn cued speech and how to implement in our family. Like, it's really good. They actually say to implement with children, young age, because it's just phonetic and it teaches children to both read lips and to formulate sounds, mouth, and to speak sooner. So when I have kids, I'll, like my, like, so you pick up on it. Yeah. Learn to read sooner and all of it. So as that compared to DNA-based pairs, music notes, violin strings, astrological midpoints, sun moon positions in the sky each day, and so just a lot of things. Seasons, moods, things like that is divvied up, and then sounds so that I could turn it into, if you could subdivide it down more, turn it into some sort of visual communication. So there's a lot to do with linguistics, and I'm just so angry. And someone's just like, oh yeah, I found this on her YouTube channel like years later, and the thing is, like, This goes back, like, I don't know. He's had sort of interesting documented timing videos and whatnot that would more than account for some claim to having some synchronistic, uncanny natural timing that would be trusted in a sense, and what it is, and regardless if they believe or trusted, it's put in a context and made into art. So I'm just kind of like, what does this girl think she's doing? She's not me. I'm not here living through other people. My own experiences from which I pull and incorporate, document daily, if not pretty regularly. So in which case, little psychotic housewives can't say, because they don't have any lead up or reasoning behind it, why they created what they created or when. Mine's all documented. So it's injustice, yeah. My back was really hurting. People sitting on that porch. All these couples go around pretending to be my justice in my chart, which is not necessarily my justice. It's just 11 degrees in Aquarius in the 7th house. So originally Libra. So there's some, but it also represents like a husband in my chart. It's one number. It's 11. It's not, and these couples go around pretending like I'm their child. They're the part of fortune that's below the horizon line. Or that my Venus in Scorpio is cut off from my body or something like that, because it's within the 5th house, or that stellium right there, that Scorpio and Sagittarius. Like, it's bizarre what these people have done, and it's so dehumanizing, dewomanizing, de-individualizing, when it's like the antithesis of everything that I set out to do as an Aries midheaven, the original singular, like, it's all those people, and it's not within a certain industry or whatnot. It's not like only one person can be like, all those people are listed off as Aries midheavens within their respective industries and professions, and it's just kind of like obscenely absurd. Obscenely absurd. How anyone thought I really need to marry someone tech, and like, in that show, Revenge, and she has that guy Nolan who just like hacks and all these things, and I'm like, that is what I need, at least as a friend. Because apparently, according to my timing, it can, like, the defamation and whatnot can be traced back to the computers who did it. Thank you. I'm hoping it looks good when I get the copy in the mail. Elemental speak. Justice. A Portrait of Good Government is Art of Life Tarot. It's like this girl sitting on the couch in gray, color association, looking bored. And I had a period of time that I was just like sitting on the couch, looking on the news. Like, I was just there a lot and taking notes and stuff like that, and doing paintings, and just, it's like I really need to get out. As I was on the couch, I'm like turning into a sofa, and then reference that Hussein Chalayan runway show from like 2000, where all the furniture turns into, it's like a living room set, and all models then start putting on the clothing that's furniture, or the furniture is clothing. And so then all this campaign started being made, and people taking a couch, like Hi Garber, and like a at least that's how I put in the context of, just sofa craft, turning into a couch. Need to get exercising or something. Or create some experiment that takes me out of the house. Oh, then I did. Yeah. So, and it's just like, the end of Sagittarius, just explore and just be everywhere and do everything. saying how I'm a little bit of like a homebody with Cancer and Moon, but then once you have that stable place to always call home and it's perfect how you want it, and go off and be explorative and maybe uncomfortable in some vacation or trips or things like that, but maybe not. And just explore and all these and travel and just a place to come to. In case, just venting. I don't know. Like half the things I feel like are just like insinuate or imply just to like under my skin. I guess not having a foundation or basis to go off of, you could imagine that your mind would like go in all these different directions and possibilities. Let me think of very like guess who? These shoes are also really comfortable. I found on Amazon. It's like main priority now that I walk places. And it's just, I don't have anything else to say. Yeah. Well, I hope your night's going well, people. I don't know how much I make these videos just to have like on record or whatnot. But I'm glad if people. I I don't know. Seem to think they're owed something, so I was trying to figure out what that is, but I'm at a loss. So I'm just like, I know I was here alone. I would know. I sat on my back porch and just like worked out equations and stuff like that, and made dorky playlists that people thought were stupid, but I'm like, you don't get it, and and people probably thought Andy Warhol was stupid, and um, that's okay, but you don't then need to. I just think that there should be, I want there to be a gathering of like minds, salons of 1700s, exchange of ideas and get together and just like kind of discuss. I mean, a lot of times people don't really like meetups and stuff like that. So in digital landscape, um, commonalities to talk about or common things to talk about or reference. Just kind of try to create that and just doing. Maybe it's time to just some sleepers. And I changed it up. I thought she could be the enlightenment in the sense of Plato's cave allegory and actually the sun and the crown there, kind of like my an Ephesus and sun, crown, and the steps of Ephesus. Um, mm, I do that. this temperance card, yeah, in Plato's allegory cave. And actually behind her is the exit to the cave and enlightenment, and just kind of like that idea of being in some sort of, you didn't realize you're in a cave, did you? You're just in a dome of Truman Show. Something like that. And there's just like all these concepts that may or may not be real, but it's interesting to talk about. And like the factory and Andy Warhol's factory, and just all these different ways about maybe things I thought you knew about or already do know about, or it's a different way. Yeah, it's like this ground. And shifting alternate realities. One foot on land, one foot in water, one foot in this world, one foot in the next, or in some other alternate dimension. And yeah. In the Toltec deck, it means art. And it's called labeled art. And has the alchemical wheel behind, which is making it's more like alchemical processing. Which I thought was really interesting for its like 1930s Art Deco illustrations and symbology. And just all of these things that I'm saying and whatnot, I think are mirrored. All the time. Bittersweet sending a million different people from one day to the next. Maybe think God might be able to, or like some AI, what you think of as, I don't know, but I'm not. I think they took that deal with God a little bit too seriously, and like switching places with God, because that sort of artist experience is a little bit more than I bargained for, and it was really just a song. You look at that music video, and I think it inspired the Camila Cabello song "Living Proof." Because my timing and driving around was my living proof, was me being living proof of all these things. But in the dance, and all these the dancers in like the purple and Kate Bush's music video, just like they're in purple and dancing, and I kind of compared it to like, the two people, Adam and multiplicity. And she gets lost in that like tunnel of all these men that look like the face of, like, this is too true to life, like all these different versions of Danny, like, and yeah, and that out of body experience I had was like a dream. I was fighting something that was like in me or something, but I could see myself on the couch sleeping, and I was yelling at something to get out that was separate from me, but I don't remember what it was in my dream. And I started to see myself like wake up, and I dove back in my mind, like in that Kate Bush's music video, Deal with God. Let's exchange the experience. I was like, oh my gosh, that is the most devilish thing at the same, like, because this whole like artist experiencing and people took really, that we live life, to what degree you implement your experiences that you have on a daily basis, or like memorable ones, into some perspective or form of art, in a sense of a creation or project. I spent some time in this country, and it really informed my intention in creating this photography series or something like that. Like artist experience, that would count as that. Like, but I'm sure other people have their own interpretation of John Dewey's art experience, but this was mine, and this was within the parameters of mine, and I pulled from my own experiences, like a stylist pulls from pulling from the archive playlists of designated, and so that that's in the sense of predestination. All these theories I've interested in, but didn't formally study. Probably am like ninth house, like religion, studies, higher education, foreign travel, and so getting to like argue and explore. And I think art, in a way, in that sense, is a way of making sense of so many things we go through as well in life. But each individual person, you know, I wouldn't presume to speak for other people or know what they've gone through, and I just, you know, I think that whole artist experience type thing is just a way of defining some of the experiences we go through as well, and like for me, that I was like, is how I looked at it. But I just often reference a lot of the same things in different contexts, in hopes of starting a Socratic kind of like, or some kind of, dialogue in the Republic. But yeah, because we don't know each other and we don't usually go through the same things, and we have I thought if we'd have like people could visit my channel and have some sort of dialogue about some of these topics and things that I think are pretty diverse, and concepts of, I'd hope to not only inspire myself but other people to consider what you don't know, what you already know, in different ways, because how boring if you just look at things in one way throughout your entire life. I think that's what art should bring about. Otherwise, it's all just maintenance. I mean, everything is kind of like the points, what you work towards in the justice system, so you can bring about a good life and a healthy country and, stable economy and all these things that people have, like, that's why there's IT, to maintain some sort of artistic website where you sell products. Like, there's art and then there's everything else, is you're either creating or you're maintaining. And sometimes we get bogged down in that feeling of life being just maintenance and like taking care of the things we need to take care of. And I just think without some happy expression that exists in the world, it's just be so boring. And who is anyone to tell anyone what their form of personal expression should be? It's just kind of like, are you kidding me? And are you actually telling me that, like, because you interpreted it that way, that was my intention? Like, I would have hoped that they'd express that so much, and then we can, like, oh, well, I looked at it this way, and, like, have some sort of, it doesn't necessarily get, involve perspective, one that is, I mean, I think I was recording that earlier on my pen in my room, talking about, which everyone should get. I like, these are so helpful. You could have one, if you were like a construction worker, is telling my people that are working on our basement. So nice. I was saying, like, yeah, because they're always like sawing things and having to write down numbers. And I'm like, and you just a little voice memo recorder, and if you run out of storage space on your phone, it's just so helpful. Yeah, and they're like $30 on Amazon. So, anyways, since I'm always illustrating drawings, like, oops, not much. Document it. So, I mean, if anyone had a problem with that, I just think that would definitely be their problem. It's just kind of like, hey, muffin, move on. So shaggy. What is art by the way seen? So you look at it and with all these like what many people could use and listen to and watch on YouTube. It's kind of like my point was to see what you can make of all together, and oh, so I was putting it all together. I just like and based out of some sort of natural like. Well, today I felt like doing this, and just worked out, in that sense, timing wise as well. And people put out campaigns and whatnot. I was just saying that how odd, and so it would just be like so subtle reflection of things that were throughout the day and experience in that sense as well. And just weird, just like that. Then you will do another tour. Yeah, so I've seen like it's so weird. I feel like these somehow implied and talk about people as houses and like they're shopping for places or houses and bodies as like architecture. I just don't know. And then just like watching that movie, The Host, as I am just kind of like just looking to like consolidate people or occupy. Or being there and occupy Wall Street. My friend and I wandered over and we're like, yeah. Mm-hmm. I think I need to go take more medicine. I think I have muscle relaxer or something. It's just like a pinched nerve is definitely what it feels like. Alright, Mysterious devices of magic of the gods. So that's a story about recounting my experience at Starbucks with the writer, a guy who like the lazy eye and that being like a recurring theme. In some ways, like people I encounter, like we had someone staying with us, this colleague of my father's, and she's in town from overseas, and she just had to get up early or something, and like cross paths and start talking about like all these topics, like 5 in the morning. She was lazy. I was talking about how and we start up simulation or like some sort of something like virus got in, some sort of simulation there. I don't know, all kinds of like interesting things that like when, and that could be like whatever. I don't know. The one with the writer at Starbucks is the title of my playlist, referencing the friends, like, and the friends, referencing friends, and how his device that he had another video, but yeah, some old 80s futuristic device, and how was gifted in magic, alchemy, and fortune telling. So translate to like I don't know about magic so much, but like simple minds, magic, connections, magic, and the equations that I made, because it's like poetry, in a sense, iambic pentameter. Going around a corner in the X drive intersection corner, and it's like the rhythm and the speech and the flow of words and syllables flowing together in some sort of rhythmic or poetic sense, and that's connected to the 12 and 12 Chiron and poetry and mother philosophy, and like intersection word phrase, and just like enlightenment to that degree is also because thought, hey, it kind of reminds me of that myth of Odin, who hung on the tree of knowledge for knowledge of the runes, and it just always gets back to something having to do with words, messenger, Joan of Arc, I'm just the messenger, arc. Yeah, and so you talk about equations, and they flow well together. Elegant equation, and while I was terrible at math, and I just like, no, this makes sense. And then one day, it just all came together, and I was like, this. It was about 8 steps, maybe 10 steps, and then within that number I got to, I was put into my data set, but and calculated with that and over there, a constant change, changing constant. I still have that video. And the thumbtack that fell. So, like elegant equation, poetic, it's flows well good, it's simplified, it's distilled, it's the essence, and only what needs to be is there. And it's that kind of sense of magic, numbers, magic, alchemy, and forecasting. I mean, I studied forecasting, but making predictions and that kind of thing. Esoteric knowledge seems to come quite naturally, or just is. I think that's when you talk about the grand trine in a birth chart and the big triangle. I have a grand air trine. Halston had a grand fire trine, so that's probably why you like kind of burnt out, kind of. And just like a lot of, but it's also the time here, 70s, and just like a lot of partying and stuff like that. But my grand air trine just keeps me going in like a lot of like quick connections and circles. Sometimes productively, sometimes not. Like if you get someone with bad cycle, stuck in a cycle, like that Lady Gaga song, it's like a million reasons. Head stuck in a cycle, I look off and I stare. It's like I stop breathing but completely aware. Show me how to cut this skin, this worn out skin. It's like, it was like the story of my life. Last like 10 years, I had a highway I'd run for the hills. So, and he just had a lazy eye, and he was on this, had this like 80s device kind of thing. And it was just bizarre. I had warned her before that. Yes, let me be the writer, make me counting that soulmates. It was the strangest day, and that's just why, I just like, I posted something about the title of it was like Things of the Night. It's so like editorial, like Things of the Night. And it's like cool images having to do with the moon and lunar and like astrology and like tarot and symbolism and then he started just talking to me like, do you understand? Do you? Like, it was just bizarre. What is this book that you're reading? That's the list. Big timer stuff live. Spirit of my daughter goes shopping. Maybe girl, that's it. I'm stunning. Your just visuals represent that dare. It's just interesting things. You just follow that thread and reason for why that video would be in the playlist in the context of the writer and start backstage. Yeah. So otherwise, the external factors, the stellium, and you have a thread and you follow it through, but all these other connections and kind of the quantum entanglement or just all this complexity and all these overlaps of timing and connections. It's easy to go off on all these, and I have, and it's just like interesting to think about additions and word of mouth and passing things down, tradition, all these ways that people document history and beliefs and witness to things and how things get changed over time. And I think there was like but in another context, you could look at that styling as like a bridge and building, constructing, or as competition. People have stallions in their church, 7 up to. Was that Lady of Destiny or that Woman of Destiny video? I thought was so funny because it was like super cheesy, and I was just talking like kind of fun of some people who are just like so zen. Not in any mean way. It was just like the sun at her head and the crown, moon at her feet. And just, the star came up earlier. Cheesy. There's some cheese. If I find it later, I'll put it in the details of this video. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that was what I was going to look up and see my progressed moon chart. More of a snapshot of where you are, your birth chart in the present day, like how you're relating to different energies and there's so many natal progressions and solar arc combined. Tertiary progressions, minor progressions, and solar arc direction. Progressed composite chart. composite chart being like if you were to overlap charts and see that. Crush synastry chart is how those energies work together. You can even check your like biological clock, like lunar cycles and all kinds of things. They're just so crazy. I think it's really interesting. I love charts and maps, and I would just like wait for the train and like study the map of the sun. It's like where things are spatially, spatial relations. Nope. My sun is in Taurus. Yeah. Moon Libra. A lot of Taurus energy. Hate. No energy. I know, like astrologer. Stop. Let me pearl. Stop. Don't do that. Completely defeating the point of like